Ida. She's joining us from DVM Group. She's an architect. She's promoting sustainable architecture and design. She worked on many international and local projects on different scales. So hopefully she's gonna give us some interesting insight into the current presentation, which is about change your workplace into a Worksphere. The description of the event or the presentation is below. So if you scroll below, you can see the discussion points. And I will be signing off now and coming back for the Q&A. So sure. If you can maybe quickly introduce yourself and start with the presentation, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm sitting in Amsterdam. The sky is the same rainy, but it's very great to be here with you, and also strange not to see the audience. But I hope that you can hear me well, and I hope that you'll enjoy the presentation. I am sharing my screen right away. I hope that it will go through smoothly, and there's a poll for there's a chat box, so you can post any of your questions there, and after the presentation we can discuss them. So as Matti mentioned, I am the design director of DVM Group, and today I will talk about how to turn your workspace into a Worksphere. Well, during the past 1.5 to 2 years, we experienced a strange thing, and now we are getting back to somewhere, but we are a bit lost where we are heading towards. But for the sake of orientation, we are on planet Earth with currently a population of 7.9 billion inhabitants. And actually, our planet is heavily urbanized. More than half of the population lives in cities. And in Europe, already more than 3/4 of people live in cities. So we can say that we are actually an urbanized, we live in an urbanized world, and it will continue. And globally, urbanization will increase to 78% by 2050. Okay, you might think that she starts a little bit further away from the offices, but actually offices are very much an urban phenomenon. Are the creatures of our cities. Officina, the word in Latin meant bureaus, so the first office districts were built actually in ancient Roman cities, and are the basic building blocks of today's cities as well. So the vibrant metropolises, where we live in, how we love or hate them, are vibrant thanks to a large extent to the fact that we commute to our workspace or commuted to our workspace every day, and pay our visit to the stops in our life that are necessary for our everyday activities. But actually, work offices in general functioned in the past century as the hubs and the centers of businesses, and this function didn't change that much until the very recent time when COVID actually hit our globe and our urban society. So our office districts really became like ghost towns and disrupted these ecosystems that we live in. So what happened is that our office communities that were enclosed in a space, in a common space that we shared, where we met, where we worked, were hit by this shock, and every single person was forced back to their homes and worked remotely. So we started building back this connection between each other in the virtual environment, in virtual space. And as of today, we are reconsidering returning back to the office and returning back again to the physical space, where those individual dots can also be connected back to, which is actually called the hybrid work setting. And I refer back to the development of our cities again with this phenomenon, where you can see this chart very nicely shows how the monocentric cities that were the very ancient old cities developed throughout the centuries and can create several forms like decentralized and distributed network. And our cities also function like these hybrid structures, and our offices within those cities are very well embedded and implemented into this network and shall function as an extension of our urban networks. There are some nice concepts for achieving this goal, and I think that this image also conveys a very livable, comfortable, and happy setting for a life of a neighborhood where people can work together and live together. So it actually is not such a utopia. It's a soon-to-be realized urban district designed by the Dutch UN studio. And the concept for this neighborhood is that it functions as a living lab, and it can actually flexibly adjusted to the different functionalities and the mix of residential and business functions of this neighborhood can be very well changed depending on the requirements for the functionalities and the requirements of the neighborhood. And obviously, this cannot be realized without the good support of digital technologies. So the green, as it seems, the well advanced in technology, it shall be at the same time. So the concept of living lab is recent, but it's with us, actually. The entire world is becoming a huge living lab as each of us is getting to be connected to each other, and actually from anywhere in the world we can collaborate with someone else. So what a living lab means, it means that we are connected through our digital devices, and our digital devices can communicate with each other as well and can well develop themselves at the same time. So it collaborates with artificial intelligence, obviously, and our buildings, our cell phones actually are part of this network, of this global network of data sharing and knowledge sharing and common learning. This chart very well shows how the IoT economy evolved during the past centuries. And as of today, there's almost 20 billion objects already in the world. And we are these objects also are connection points, and it's estimated that there will be 4 IoT devices and 7 sensors per person, not only in the developed world but also globally, even in the remotest places of our globe. So we are contributing to the same thing with the help of our technology. And I brought you this picture, not from a science fiction movie, but actually it's from a workplace. It's the CERN Research Institute, one of the most advanced research institutes in the world where the greatest minds are collected. And actually, this picture also comes from the CERN Institute. It shows the canteen, which is the very heart of this institute. And in this very place was the idea of the World Wide Web born, where Sir Tim Berners-Lee shared his thoughts on this concept and could discuss it with their colleagues. And well, don't you find it fascinating that something that enables us to work remotely from any part of the world was born in a very personal meeting. And this place still remains the very heart and very important functional unit of this research institute, because they believe that innovation is born within personal and spontaneous discussions. So this place can generate more innovative ideas than our individual work in a work setting. So I believe that offices will have a future, do have a future where we can meet each other, but we have to reshuffle, reconsider, and rethink and make a good use of the technology that surrounds us and is everywhere around us. And so, well, I would get back to Maslow's pyramid, obviously, which shows very well how our functions and how our needs are built up. It all starts with fulfilling our physiological needs, but then safety comes, and obviously that's why our home isolation was a good work setting for during the pandemic, because it provided a safe place for everybody. But then comes belongingness and the need for connection to other people, and this is how our work community must be taken care of and shall bring into importance, because we need that connectedness to our community, and this connectedness cannot really happen in isolation. And well, we shall combine this happy and cozy and comfortable work setting from our homes with the happy office environment where we would like to see our communities thrive. This workspace strategy, how we approach it, shall very well serve the overall vision of the companies. So there's no one size fits all when we approach the how to solve the hybrid workplace or hybrid office concept. So this strategy shall serve the core values of a company, and obviously shall be broken down into goals that can be very well connected to a workspace setting. It's up to decision, obviously, how much you share or how much a company shares the digital and the physical work setting. But if we combine it with the overall goal, it will be successful, and obviously it shall be flexible and resilient. I can give you a little sneak peek of our approach, how we do it within our team, a DVM group, because obviously it's like in a theater. We have a scene where we interact with our clients, and they come with their demands that we try to fulfill. And there's the team who has to learn and also evolve and develop new methodologies, and create the creative concept that serves those demands that our clients come with. So for that, we do a lot of research. We always try to learn and gather more insights, input, and we use as many tools as possible for doing so. And this will lead to create a good and well-functioning space plan and interior design that will lead to a good experience to the users of the spaces that we create. So one of the tools, for instance, that we created are the workshops. We very much believe in the power of collective thoughts and of personal meetings. We, for instance, use cards and created a set of games. Well, people can tell their fears and hopes about the office spaces and how they intend to turn and convert the use of those spaces into the digital settings and how they would like to combine the two. And we can this way very nicely set up and describe and gather the thoughts about the physical space as well, how it can best function and what can be the good solution for that team and for that community. Obviously, those stunning interiors that are the result of our interior design works are mostly empty nowadays, but still are very much inviting and are waiting for those communities to return and can support their collective knowledge and the innovation that they create. So the office space is still a heart of those physical meetings, but we do need those digital tools that shall enable the seamless communication and for connecting those little dots around the office and at remote places. Obviously, those tools can be used for very functional things as well, for access control, presence sensing, monitoring occupancy behavior, where we can customize our indoor comfort. And obviously, we can seamlessly communicate with each other. In the office, we can even order a preferred coffee based on our personal settings that can be done through the technology that we use. But also, we combine a good design and then the digital tools come that create this seamless communication, workflow, and collaboration within the teams. But in the end, when we fulfill the requirement of the physiological needs, the safety and community requirements, it all leads back to the experience of the users, the experience of the clients of our clients, actually, because the offices are the digital and physical meeting spaces mergers. So the office is like the interface, the physical interface of the companies that we work with. And they are also the space and the employer branding tools towards their employees. But even big data and AI cannot really function well without the human scale, without the stories and emotions that can be generated in these very human settings, in the impersonal meetings, in the spontaneous discussions, in the events that we generate personally. So while we can share little smiles, chit chats, and good laughs in one's physical space. So the offices are essentially a clubhouse of a company, but also a hub for creating innovation and for generating ideas. So this is why we believe in the future of office, but in the good combination of the hybrid tools for generating this connectedness shown in the Maslow's pyramid that connects and creates the sense of community and can support the individual sense of belongingness of every single person of our team that can together thrive this way. So thank you for your attention. I'm ready to receive your questions if you have any.
Thank you for the presentation, Ida. As Ida mentioned, you can use the chat box to post your questions, or just connect above here to share your audio and video, and then you can join us live. That's the best option, actually, because then you can quickly react on Ida's thoughts. Until we wait for some questions, I have some questions for you. I mean, if you look at, let's say, the needs of your clients, you were working on projects before the pandemic and now during the pandemic, how you kind of presented us with an ideal way how everything should look like and develop. that it's going to be a completely new bird. Actually, in the panel before, we heard that some are in different perspective, or they believe that it might go back to almost the way it was before.
Yeah.
How do you see in terms of the needs of the clients currently? Did those needs change if you compare this to time periods? I mean, before COVID and now, what kind of office space, what kind of building state they would like to create?
Yeah, well, yes and no. There are some clients, and actually even our team didn't change that much during the past 1.5 years. We can work in a more flexible setting, which is really great. There's been a kind of cultural revolution in how remote work was introduced to our everyday work, which is great. But the office in some cases and in some companies remained almost the same. There are some other clients that we also meet that fully revolutionize their offices and convert it into collaboration spaces and meeting spaces, and just almost completely eliminated individual workstations, because they would like to use the power of the personal meetings and ideas sharing. And in other cases, functionality comes first, and the desk sharing concept, obviously, which can generate a more efficient use of office space. So with this functionality, we have, I think, the biggest challenges, because that side is expressed quite well. And that's why we think that we need those workshops and interviews, deep diving interviews with our clients, where we can get behind their functional requirements and really grab their idea about the core values and the core concepts and the global vision of their regarding their office spaces.
Thank you. And when you were showing this video, you mentioned that currently a lot of these spaces are empty. That was designed by you guys. And you also mentioned now that the requirements are can be a bit similar as well. Do you see any kind of predictions from the clients when they will go back and use the spaces again, or is it completely? Well, there's no plan basically, because we'll see how everything develops.
Yeah, well, obviously, the most attractive the workspace, the easier to get the employees back to the office space. So the evolution of the office spaces led towards really creating a cozy setting in a work cafe and a comfortable and colorful office space for our clients. And it will further continue. I think the competition of the workplaces and the office environment will be even greater. So the experience side of the office will be in the forefront, because it shall be a better place than your own home. In some cases, it obviously is, because maybe your home is not a perfect and ideal space for working. But many people really created a nice setting for remote work, even in beautiful places of the world. The digital nomads can obviously work from anywhere, and that little hub that is a physical meeting point of a community will be an essential ingredient of how a company can function.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Thanks for the presentation. And the session is recorded. So, and actually, I received many messages that some people will see this or watch this later live. So we're going to share that info link after the event once everything is processed. We have a few minutes until the next session, so you can quickly refresh, grab a drink, and then we'll meet at 11:30 again for the next session. Thanks again, Ida, and yeah, see you soon.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.